everybody, and welcome to the class. I apologize today. I'm in a conference and I was planning to come, but my returning plans have been altered a little bit due to an injury. So I was being a little bit delayed and I will be coming by the end of the day. This is why I moved the meeting to an online and I did that recording just in case I would not be able to get to any place with internet connection and so on. But I still hope you will enjoy the lecture today. And if you have any question, please let me know. I will be more than happy to answer you. So, in today's lecture, we'll go through some of the links that I stopped last time. Plus, I will show you some of the resources important for machine learning and cybersecurity using data-driven techniques. So, let me now go ahead and share my screen. So, in today's lecture, as we already see before, I'll just minimize here. We talked about many of the machine learning techniques and many algorithms in machine learning. As a review, I already stopped by this image here when it shows these three main components that you need to acquire to be able to be a data-driven cybersecurity machine learning specialist. Hacking skills, substantive expertise, as well as some math and statistical knowledge. I already stressed many times in our class about how important the statistics is and the math and so on. So I guess you already have it from your previous background. However, revising them is never bad, especially if you're going to use machine learning or data science. For the expertise, it comes with time. It comes with the course. So I already exposed you to many of the substance and many fine details about cybersecurity and data-driven data acquisition. And the hacking skills here are actually um, it's a combination from past logic and ongoing experience that you're gonna get. By interacting with them, you will be mastering machine learning as well as data science and traditional techniques. This way, you can provide a very strong machine learning method or build a very strong machine learning model that can help you later on to provide almost um, near to optimum applications by acquiring this skill. This is why I always recommend my students to try to see some of the like ethical hacking courses or so on to enhance your hacking skills later on in industry. I showed this slide last time, showing these different links that I already talked to. I will go through link by link. This is a Python. I guess everybody's aware of Python, and this is where you can download Python and start to forward. However, I like to use Anaconda as a package and so on. The IPython is a little bit different environment because this is an interactive kernel based on Jupyter when you can do a lot of GUI toolkits. Because as I saw, a lot of people lose interest in the machine learning project because at the end, it looks like a black code, black console screen, nothing interesting. But whenever we put the GUI and try to do the reports and also embedded project make it much more interesting for the user and even much better for you to discover something hidden about the data like heat maps, which is very important cybersecurity, and also graphs and so on. In this page, as you can see, they talk about the by PI when you can go to see a lot of project and also like don't look at the version, it's not important, just use the latest. This is what it but whenever you go here, what I like you to go to show to read a little bit in the documentation. It tells you more about the IP packet as well as some of the project. In the project here, it tells you some of the project related to the Jupyter, and if you go to the page of the project other than the name, everyone have link, and most of them will have the all the files on GitHub, as you can see, which can be really beneficial whenever you start a new project and so on. If you go to Jupyter here, to just talk about the Jupyter notebooks, give you some insight, make you try it. If you before you install, you can only install Jupyter, but because I use machine learning a lot, I installed the Anaconda. It's much easier for me. But you can see all the interactive parts, the shared data and so on, which is really very nice resource. I will close this for now and I will go back to our presentation when I show the NumPy. And NumPy I guess most of you already used it. But what I like to see here is documentation of the NumPy, as well as some of the contributions that we have. If you are a new student, which we have a lot of new students in our class, you can go step by step. It tells you the guide. It's very easy to read documentation, as well as a lot of YouTube videos that can help you also. But I really like to start by the documentation first. Going, I will close it again and go back to our slide when we have the pandas. And pandas is a very rich environment where you can have a lot of GUIs, a lot of math equations. So they have even some books regarding that. Getting started is the best way to install it if you want to install only a single component, or if you want to install it in a small embedded system. This is where you can go instead of installing the whole environment like Anaconda on a small device. Pandas also give you all the binaries available if needed, but in our case, I don't think our students are interested in the uh, binaries, but just in case if you need to serve. In the development here, tell you a lot of guys. I don't really send my students to read here, but I want you just to know what is how to create the environment in case if you install it in a small device and for your future projects. I will minimize this here and I go back to our slide when we have the Metasploit library. In the Metasploit library is actually the visualization for Python. I like this library a lot because it gives me a lot of ways to express the data, and I already discussed how important to have a visualization of the data as we have. Um, some resources and so on, but what I want you to pay attention to the examples. And in my opinion, this is the most interesting part of the whole website here, when you can see all type of plots and how to use them. Basically, for traffic, I can use something like that. For density, something like that, and so on. Other than that, this is just pairwise data, X and Y. If you have a bit statistical, it have all the statistical ways, even in untraditional ways, like in 2D stacked like that. Also, they have extra fancy types whenever you have four-dimensional or something or three-dimensional data, as you can see in these examples, and any irregular data too. For example, if you attended my lecture earlier this week, I talked about clustering and classification, and whenever we need to cut the plan into different categories. This show you a very good plots for 3D data that you can utilize in your project, utilize in your machine learning application, and so on, as well as 3D. Usually, I recommend in cybersecurity, don't go to 3D in that way, but use it in a mapping like this way, because this is easier to spot in a 2D display than using 3D in a fast decision making. Because looking at graph like this, for example, for the point scattered data, I have no clue how one point is far away from the other, especially in the 3D mapping to 2D. But as you can see, there's a lot of built-in libraries that you can use to upload data. If you have any data, I will recommend you at least one time try to use one of these. And going to that, you have the whole code. So basically, this is the best what my students like to do, copy and paste, right? So this is where you can actually really try. Jupyter only uses a browser, which will be very beneficial for you. And even if you tired from copy and paste, just download the file and open it. Done. That's it. So please try to use it with the data that you have. Experiment with the packet capturing steps that we did in our project, just to see how is the data look like. It really will give you a lot of insights that will help you to build the first step of your application. I will minimize this now and go to my to our slides back again. And we have the Mayavi, and the Mayavi is actually open source software for also data visualization. What I like about Mayavi, not only because it's really interesting to see, but have a very nice, I want to just find it up here. Um, they have a very nice integration to visualization of some of the CSV files, which I really recommend you to try. Make sure that you download the authentical page instead of just regular one, and you can see this is a download. They have some installation and screenshots of the installation itself, and it really give you a very intense data. I used Mayavi in a project that we did for oil and gas to calculate the flow of the particles inside the crude oil whenever they pump it from the Mexican Gulf and put it in the uh, pipes. So we needed to see what is the rate and put IoT devices to capture this data. And this where I used Mayavi to get some of this complex representation of the data. As you can see, even NASA use it. And I really recommend you at least try one to see how it works and what parameters you need. The good thing is about Mayavi that you can actually set the parameters and see the visualization. Then you can implement it in programming way. So this is where I see the power of Mayavi. I will minimize this again and go back to our science kit or seek kite, whatever, learn and see. This is a very introductory library for machine learning, but I like the simplicity of the algorithm. They have a nice regression algorithm, clustering algorithm, which I can implement it in a small Raspberry Pi later on. Like in our example that we're gonna go in the coming Friday for the hands-on, we will do regression. And again, really lean to use this algorithm in the scikit to implement it. As you can see, whenever classification with the complexity of it, you can also see how many algorithms they have. Here you can see they have the Gaussian boosting, the nearest neighbor, random forest, and always algorithm under the regression. And you can see all the linear models, the kernel model, and so on. You can learn a lot by only reading what processes are available, and this way you know the function, you know how to call it, and you can implement it to your data. Done. That's it. Clustering. If I'm new to clustering and I want to learn clustering and I'm really excited about it, I will come here and see. And they have the one of the most interesting clustering techniques, a most simplest way in an implementation and understanding the hyperparameter, which is the key means. I'll go to key means and I will read what is the key means. Okay, this is the sample into X clustering, yes, and we'll get a main idea how to implement it. And as you can see here at the end, they have examples. Click on the example. It will tell you some of the clustering existing as well as the code. Again, my students, we have copy and paste finally, and also can download the file and see. This is why I like this link too much. Whenever I started machine learning back in 2005, we didn't have all those resources. Now it's available and you can use it. It will save you a lot of time and make you an expert very fast and very solid expert later on. Other examples you can see here for dimension reduction, model selection, processing, all of them can help you. But for me, please try to see at least the classification, regression, and clustering. This is having these three, you can implement any machine learning in cybersecurity domain, which will be successive and effective in your situation. So please send some time. I don't want to put it as an assignment for you because we're almost like close to the end of the semester. I want you to focus on the upcoming uh, project presentation, but I really want you to pass through that. Please spend some time this weekend before you forget to go through this class. Okay? All right, I will minimize that. I go to our slide because we finish this page. The next page or next slide that I have is basically the machine learning repository. We have four of them, which in my opinion are the nice repository in this step in your data-driven cybersecurity. First one is from Harvard. They have a lot of data. I will click on it right now, and you can see you can search by data here, for example, network or traffic or TCP, and they have all type of data sets and papers associated with that. You can go to there and see if there's data set. You can even filter only on data sets and it will show me where's the downloadable data set for free. Why not? So you can use that. Also, go back here. What I like to do is they have a nice categories. Let me go to the main page. Yeah. They have like computer information science. I can go here if I want to make a research. If I have a nice machine learning technique and don't know where to implement, I can go here and see what data sets they have and then apply the machine learning on the data set and see what I can get out of it. Very nice step in your research for future. I will minimize this one and go to the next one, which you have the UCSF. This is one also a very rich resource of data sets. They have data source for data visualization, file management, network, and all what you really would need in this stage, and telling you all the free data to download. Other than that, we actually here, if you go back, the UCI, this is where I downloaded the data for the latest projects, and it have a lot of them that you can actually get rid of, including IoT data, which is very, very beneficial. And if you go back here, this is the data.gov, and the beauty about it is that you have very untraditional data for our field that can help you a lot to proceed with your data. I'll go back to the main presentation, and you can see here, I already put some resources for AWS, Google, and Rackstep. This is also a very good data for files. And at the end, I want you to check these two slides for the books presented. One of them is doing data science. The other one is Python for data analytics. All of them available. I put the link for it. You don't have to buy them, but I want you at least to read. There's also available resources for that for free to read, and you can keep them in your repository in your library. And this is how the two books likes, and you can find even a PDF version of it. The next we will talk about some challenges in firewall, and we'll keep that on Monday for our lecture, including the threats and so on. I will stop sharing my screen now. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being with me in this lecture, and have a beautiful rest of the day. Thank you.